After stage separation, the booster will
Hey
attempt to
everyone,
land
and
on our drone ship
welcome
just
to Y live coverage of the SpaceX Astra 1P mission. My name is Jonathan, and I'm a live producer and software developer for What About It. And with me today is Jordan.
Hi, Jonathan. Honored to be joining you. It's my first live stream of any kind, really, but with WAI, and I've been down here in South Texas for a couple of years now, watching what SpaceX is doing in person. It's been incredible. Of course, following for many years prior to that, but happy to be joining you today for just another day in the life of a SpaceX workhorse that is the Falcon 9.
Yeah, today's mission is about 8 minutes, 40 seconds until liftoff. They tried to launch yesterday, but they sadly scrapped. So we're trying again today and really hope they're going to launch today. Jordan, do you want to tell us some more information about the payload we're going to see on today's mission?
Yeah, so today it's a classic wide beam satellite, and it's going to support SES's prime like TV neighborhood service and enable content owners, private and public broadcasters to support customers across Germany, France, and Spain. So just continue broadcasting satellite TV in the highest quality possible and the most cost-efficient manner, which SpaceX is great at that. So.
Yeah, I mean, so it's technically just a TV satellite for Europe, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can also take a look at the flight profile from today's mission. I mean, it's Falcon 9, so it's fairly standard. So we're, of course, going to see a liftoff and descent. And after that, the first stage is going to separate from the second stage. And the booster is going to do a flip maneuver and then land. And that's, of course, going to go through the entry burn, then landing burn, and then touchdown on a drone ship, hopefully. But SpaceX got really good at that, so I'm fairly sure it's going to go all well.
Yeah, I hadn't checked the stats in a while, but surprisingly, this is their 331st Falcon recovery attempt. So it feels like just yesterday when I was watching the very first drone ship landing, which turned into a drone ship implosion. I think it was the first couple of times, right? And then they finally nailed it. And it's just been, I mean, the consistency has been insane since that point. So, and I believe the turnaround on this rocket specifically, it just flew 29 days ago, I believe. So here it is again.
Yeah, it's so crazy how fast they got with like turnaround times, and they're just getting better. So yeah, it's quite insane. And we can also.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jordan. No worries.
Well, this is their 360-second mission overall. But just this year, this is their 60-second mission. So like their flight cadence is just through the roof.
Yeah, it's crazy. And also with upcoming Starship launches that are just going to get more and more, it's crazy how many launches SpaceX just puts out there. Yeah. I mean, when you live down at the Cape or visit the Cape, there's no week where it's like, where you don't have a chance to, if you launch, they're like sometimes just like 3 launches in like 48 hours or even less. It's totally crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like insane. That's going to happen early next week. They have some back-to-back. My grandmother lives in Venice, Florida, and she can see the vapor trails from her condo usually. So she'll send me a photo, and I get those photos pretty regularly now.
Yeah, so. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been down there this spring again. And it's so cool seeing launches. It's just, you can't really describe it. So for everyone who hasn't seen launch in first person, I can only recommend going down there. Nice mug. And viewing the launch in person.
Yeah, this was from Falcon Heavy, the first one. So got to see the 2 boosters come back and land. Pretty incredible.
It's super cool. It looks like we're about 5 minutes away from liftoff from today's Astro 1P mission. So if you're just joining us, that's what we're doing. And keep in mind, it really helps us if you smash the like button and of course also subscribe. So that always really helps us out.
Yeah, I came across WAI, I think last year, and just there's very few channels and people that have their finger on the pulse of everything that's happening at Starbase and with the broader space industry as well. I mean, we've got Rocket Lab, so many other players coming into the mix and having success. So the growth is like exploding.
So if you have questions, of course, let us know in the chat. and we'll try to answer them. Yeah, it really helps if you ping either What About It or I think Inigo Justini is also in the chat. He's a moderator, and if you ping him, he'll also be able to get us the questions.
And feel free to chime in on where you're watching the launch from today.
So you also have the launch timeline on screen right now. So the first event we're of course gonna look out for is at T-minus 1 minute when Falcon 9 is gonna go into startup, and then 15 seconds later the flight director should verify go for launch, and we really hope that we're gonna see that today and there's not another scrap.
Yeah, the weather looks good.
Yeah, in comparison to the last days, the weather really looks good, and also in comparison to the weather we're seeing down the Starbase right now.
Oh yeah,
way better. And of course, you can always, also after the stream, head over to our 24/7 stream, where you right now can also see the terrible weather down at Starbase. That's running 24/7. So if you like weather or like rockets down there, feel free to watch the stream. Yeah.
something
super
funny
good place to hang
about
out.
down here in South Texas, there's a lot of birds, but also ducks. And let me tell you, the ducks have been very happy the last couple of days.
I can imagine. Yeah. And if you also want to get the latest footage, we do have a second channel called Y+, and that channel should get daily updates from now on with all the pictures our photographers take down there. And of course, you can also see all the flooded roads on the way to Starbase there. Yeah, weather is crazy.
Yeah, we have one of the best photographers down here at Starbase. I will sing John's praises.
Yeah, John is super great. Okay, so I'll let SpaceX talk a bit from now on, because we are getting close to T0.
Into clouds and water. Standing by now for second stage propellant loading completion.
Stage 2, LOX load complete.
And with that call out, Falcon 9 is now fully...
I just saw a question in chat from someone who was asking if Falcon 9 has ever failed. And of course it has, especially while landing. So when you... There's a funny video on YouTube from SpaceX directly, where they show all their failed landing attempts until they finally succeeded. And yeah, it's really cool. When you like see how in whatever ways the landing failed, but the final one where it actually lands is super cool. Okay, so let's listen into final steps of countdown and hopefully startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Here we go. Okay, next up should be go for launch from the flight director.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 are beginning to pressurize for launch.
I'm not even nervous.
Go for launch.
And there we go.
And there we just heard our launch.
We go for launch.
Final go
Yeah,
for
I mean,
launch.
it's not a surprise. SpaceX is so good with these launches. So it was to be expected, but let's hope this launch goes well.
With the Astro 1P satellite. Let's listen in on the final moments of the launch countdown.
T-minus 15. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Astro 1P.
This looks so cool. moment does appear my camera just decided to turn off. Let me just fix that.
We're at T minus 30, or excuse me, T plus 33 seconds and counting. Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40, carrying the Astro 1P satellite. After clearing the tower, we tilted or gimbaled the engines to initiate a roll maneuver.
Power and telemetry nominal.
And you may notice that in the Stage 1 camera view. This enables the vehicle's antennas to stay in the best position for communicating with the ground. In just a few seconds, we're going to be throttling down the engines in preparation for max Q, which stands for the maximum moment of maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Yeah, those views are always so cool. I think it's so incredible how like SpaceX just got it at one time, and since then like the views have been always perfect. Like you can basically see from liftoff to launch, to landing from the booster with onboard footage. It's so crazy.
Yeah, that's the best part, honestly.
You can keep
there's
your
like
eye
not
on the
many
Stage
companies that do that as well.
there in the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and keep an eye on those speed changes through ascent. Now, the rocket typically needs to go 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and therefore get into orbit.
Yeah, the next event we should look out for is first stage main engine cutoff, and that's going to be at 2 minutes 31 seconds, so in about 30 seconds.
Quite quickly, starting with main
Yeah, I
engine
should know
cutoff,
this, but I don't know if
followed
it's
by
flying
stage
towards
separation
Texas or
and
away,
second
but we
engine
might see
start
some of that
one
tropical
or
storm
SES
system.
1. Not to be confused
I'm fairly
with
sure it's
today's
flying
custom.
away, so it's not flying over land, but we might still be able to see some of the clouds over there,
As the name
because
suggests,
rockets
main
are
engine cutoff is where
do
we
fly
shut
quite
down
high.
all 9 M1B engines on the first stage.
Okay, so we just
Beautiful
should
views
see
coming
that
from the stage
first stage
1
cutoff in a few seconds.
Coming up on Miko now.
Yeah, pretty clear
Main
day there.
engine cutoff.
Yeah, there we go.
Stage separation.
So we see a nice stage separation. Yeah, that looks super awesome as well. Yeah, those views on the second stage, incredible.
Yeah, just a matter of seconds, it's up there.
And there you heard and
I
saw
mean,
those
it's just been 3 minutes now,
back to back.
and we're already 80 kilometers high.
The next event we have coming up
The
is
Griffin's
fairing
coming up.
separation. We will attempt to retrieve, we will be attempting to retrieve these fairing halves once again as they fall back to Earth, and we will do so with our recovery vessel, Bob.
Yeah, the names are so funny. Whoever came up with them, genius.
As a reminder, Astro 1P, our payload today, is a wide-beam broadcasting satellite with 80 Ku band transponders for broadcasters and content owners across large TV markets in Germany, Spain, and France.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Yeah, so
And
they
there
still
we just
haven't
heard
quite dialed in
confirmation
the
of that
fairing
fairing
captures, I
separation,
guess,
and
because they're
perhaps
still
cut
calling it
a
an
bit as
attempt.
well. Actually, you can see one of those fairing halves falling away in the background behind the MVAC engine there on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, these shots are just amazing.
Nominal trajectory.
Now, the next event we have coming up around T plus 6.5 minutes will be the first stage entry burn. That will be conducted by the booster, which is the left-hand side view on your screen. And that will be the first of 2 burns that the first stage will perform in order to land back on Earth. You can see the first stage is actually still very slowly, but a little bit gaining slight altitude. Looks like it might be peaking right now. The first stage continues to do so for several moments after stage separation, and we can see there now that it is beginning to, it has reached its apogee and will begin to see the altitude decrease, meaning it was beginning its return back to Earth. Everything continues to look nominal for the second stage on the right-hand side of your screen. A gorgeous daylight view of planet Earth behind that MVAC engine.
So one fun fact is actually on some of the latest missions, we actually saw shortened engine nozzles on the second stage. So that really confused me and a few friends when we watched that, because it just looks off after seeing the upper stage of Falcon 9 with the long nozzle for like years. But they do that in case they don't need all the performance out of the upper stage, in case the payload is a bit lighter, because the extended nozzle does give the rocket more power and more efficiency, especially. Yeah, but in case they don't need that, they're not recovering it anyway. They can just build a cheaper nozzle in there, smaller one, and still achieve the mission goal.
And that deposits a layer of soot on the vehicle's surface.
I always hear interstellar music ever since one of the early landing attempts.
Carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses, and with each flight,
it
builds up a little bit more on the outside of the vehicle. That's why some of the reused boosters have a little bit more color on them than the newer ones that are still have a...
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
Than the newer
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there we can see on the left-hand side of the
making
screen
minor
that entry
adjustments.
burn has begun. We can see that speed really decelerating now on the left-hand, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Again, this is the first stage and is the first of 2 burns that it will execute in this
Entry
landing
burn
maneuver.
shut down.
There we can see and heard that entry burn has concluded. And we can see how those grid fins help steer the vehicle for a precise landing.
Yeah, for some reason I still think that Falcon 9 landings still look like straight from out of Kerbal Space Program. Yeah. I don't know. It just looks weird, but it's super cool, of course.
I had to see it in person I mean, it doesn't seem, it looks too easy.
Even in person, it still looks totally off and weird.
Yeah.
Satellite.
I really hope they do the booster catch for the next Starship launch. It's going to be incredible.
that would be insane.
Right around the same time that we're performing that landing burn on
Stage
the
1
first stage,
transonic.
that call out tells us that the first stage is traveling near the speed of sound. Now, right around the same time as the landing burn, we're going to hear a call out for MVAC shutdown, or SECO, second engine cutoff 1.
Stage 2 FTS has saved. Terminal guidance.
It looks like we have a pretty clear view of the targeted landing area, so if you look closely, you might be able to see our drone ship come into view.
Bob.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Let's see who can spot the drone ship first.
There
There it is.
Drone ship in. Landing burn initiated.
Let's look a little choppy.
And back shutdown.
Landing leg deploy.
Boom.
And there we go. That looks good.
Stage 1 landing
Yeah.
confirmed.
And nearly in the center as well.
An incredible view
Yeah.
from 2 different
Not
angles,
totally.
as you can see.
Bit off there. But yeah, super cool still that they basically land every time now. It's so cool. You can definitely see the views the drone ship takes from all the landings there as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if
Well,
you
all
guys
of
have anyone capturing photos of the drone ships coming back in to the port.
We do actually have the 24/7 live stream, and we also have a port cam there for Port Canaveral. So if you're lucky and you're over there, you might see a drone ship come in, or a booster from another mission just chill on there and being offloaded from a drone ship and being prepared for another mission. Yeah, and sometimes they even 2. So it's definitely worth to check out the 24/7 stream.
Almost looks like the moon.
Okay, so I think we have quite a bit of coast face in front of us right now. So I'm not totally sure if we're going to stream through the whole coast face. But if you still have questions, feel free to put them in chat now, because we do have some time to answer them now. At least try to answer them. Yeah. Yeah, Wooper, another team member from us, just mentioned that he would like to see a wide-angle camera from drone ship landings. And I totally agree. It would be super cool to see the full booster while it's landing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised. Like they really haven't messed with the camera angles a lot, and it makes sense. I mean, this is epic, but it'd be fun to see some new, placement, especially now that they have Starlink capability. Get those high definition streams.
Yeah, Steven also just said in chat that he could watch this all day, and I agree. I could watch these views the whole day long. It just never gets old. Okay, and it does appear that SpaceX just has music running, so I don't think we need to listen to that right now.
It's usually good, but
yes, someone just asked in chat, Virtual Craft asked what engines Falcon 9 is using. So on the first stage, we have 9 Merlin 1D engines. So they're like in the ring, 8 on the outside and then 1 in the middle. And then on the second stage, the upper one, we have 1 single Merlin 1D vacuum engine, and that's the one you can see on screen right now. Or not anymore, but you could see a second ago.
just
Yeah, and they have 2 versions of the nozzle for that engine, as I said before. So they have the long one you see right now. I would probably say that's the standard one for most of us that watch the launches. And then there's a new one that's a shortened one they use for lighter missions. I might actually be able to get you a picture of that. Give me a second.
Are you using the Keychron keyboard as well?
Yeah, of course. Always
I
having
recognize the
shortcuts
sound.
available for streaming. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, it looks like I can't find a picture of the short nozzle, sadly. But
Elusive
I'm fairly
short
sure
nozzle.
most of you have seen them by now. Yeah.
There's an ad. Love those.
Great.
I'm hopping into the subscriber chat myself.
Nice.
See you all later, Falcon 9 rocket fans. I wonder how many of those there are. I mean, there's got to be thousands.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure. I mean, SpaceX usually has lots of viewers on X as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've had the
So
last 2 Starship launches have been very cloudy, so it's been kind of a bummer. But I think I would think just as the odds go, we would have a clear launch coming soon. Hopefully on the next one.
Have you seen Starship launch in real life before? Have you been there for one?
Oh yes, actually all the Starship launches I've seen live.
Ah, come on! I want to see one as well. Just give me like one or so.
Come on down.
And then split another one with the chat. Yeah. Yeah, I can just imagine how crazy Starship launch is.
It's the volume is. It reminds me of Falcon Heavy, but it's depending on how close you are. Like I've tried a few different launch viewing areas. Haven't done Raptor Roost yet, but I'm excited to do that soon.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us, we're currently streaming SpaceX Falcon 9 Astra 1P mission. The Astra 1P satellite is a telecommunication satellite or a TV satellite for Europe. I think it's a wideband satellite. Yeah, it's basically just television satellite. Yeah.
Correct. And it has not been deployed yet. They're in the coast phase. It's going to be.
So as far as I know, the deployment is going to be at around 35 minutes after liftoff. So I don't think we're going to stream until that deployment is going to happen. But as a reminder, if you still have questions, feel free to put them in chat now. I'll see if we can answer them. Yeah.
Someone said, "What was that ball of fire trailing it?" Do you mean the booster?
Oh, great. I did just hear from the back end that Felix himself sent me a picture of the shortened nozzle, so I'll get that on stream real quick. Okay, let's see.
So only about a third of their missions are orbital launch attempts so far.
Okay. See.
And this satellite's based on an already proven platform that's already been tested in orbit, so pretty standard stuff.
Okay, so this is not the most high definition image, but you can definitely see
yeah,
that
look
this
how short
nozzle
that is.
on here is way shorter, and that's what I was talking about. So first time I saw that nozzle, I got really confused and thought like, huh. But yeah, they do that in case they don't have a heavy payload and don't really need the extra performance of the longer nozzle. Because basically, the longer your nozzle, the faster you can expand the gases that are coming out of the rocket engine, and faster gases are more power and higher efficiency for the engine. But in case you don't need them, you can just use a shorter nozzle that's cheaper because the material the nozzle is made of is quite expensive and quite hard to work with as well. So saving on it is definitely a nice way.
Yeah, that's where they really excel, is any cost cutting they can do for unnecessary performance that they're not going to use.
Yeah, and I mean, as they're not recovering the upper stages of the Falcon 9 anyway, there's no real purpose into building the better nozzle and then flying it if they really don't need it. So yeah, that's just another smart way how SpaceX is really successful.
Yeah, and I've researched this before, but don't they plan on eventually handling all payloads with Starship?
Yeah, so they're definitely gonna switch over to Starship for most payloads because it's a cheaper launch vehicle if it gets reliable. Because right now it's definitely not reliable, and they definitely need to rely on their workhorse Falcon 9, and especially for national security missions. I'm pretty sure it's going to take quite some time until they'll switch to Starship, because it just hasn't proven to be reliable yet. So
this was
that'll
actually
probably
the
still take a
9th
few years.
flight of this booster.
Yeah, I think in the beginning they planned for having like 10 flights per booster, but they just got so good at recovering and reusing them that they're flying way more than 10 times by now.
Yeah,
That's
I think
quite
they're
crazy.
quoting like it's at around 30 before it kind of becomes retired at that point. It's unknown,
I think
right?
they're about at 20 right now, but
20, okay.
yeah, it's still crazy.
Yeah, when you think about the space shuttle and all that, we would just toss into the ocean, discard billions of dollars, really. Someone's asking why there's no plasma like Starship for the booster. That's only on re-entry, I believe. Or
Yeah, so
it didn't go high enough.
Exactly. So the booster is technically re-entering, but as you can see, it does that first entry burn and then the landing burn. And the entry burn is mainly to not get too hot on re-entry and break down before it gets too hot, and plasma would be there. But it also, in comparison to like a full orbital flight, it only goes up like I would say about half of like less even of where the first stage, the second stage right now is, and the speeds therefore also don't get as crazy when it comes back down, because like orbital velocities are like 27 kilometers per hour, as you can see on stream right now. Yeah, and the booster never goes there, so it's way easier to recover the booster than the second stage, and that's also the primary reason why they don't recover the second stage of Falcon 9 and just the first one, because it's just easier, basically.
Yeah, it's essentially handing off the rest of the work to orbit to the second stage and the vacuum engine, kind of like a relay race where they pass the baton. So its work is done as soon as they detach, and we just get it back safely, use it again a few weeks from now.
Yeah. And Virtual Crafter in chat also asked how SpaceX captured the footage of Super Heavy landing. We saw on Twitter after the last Starship flight, and Panzer in chat already answered it, because as far as we know, they just had a buoy in the water there close to the predicted landing position and just recorded it with that. Yeah.
I did think it was
And as far as-
interesting they cut it off before it fell over. I'm not sure why, but
Yeah,
I wanted to see that.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, we might see that on a future mission, but I think it's super surprising and super cool, of course, that the booster, like, I think they said it was like basically on target, and that's why they're gonna try to catch it with the next flight. And yeah, the ship was about 6 kilometers off on the last flight, but I mean, after what happened to that forward flap, I'm fairly sure we all know why that happened, and it's surprising it still made it down.
I was just thinking about that, watching the speed of the second stage the first stage, because I think the Starship was still going like Mach 2 or faster when it started having issues with the flap. So I didn't think it was going to make it, but it's a sturdy beast.
And Starship 29 and Booster 11 in chat ask, what's our favorite rocket? What's your favorite rocket, Jordan?
I think I've already shown that it's Starship at this point. But
Yeah.
It was Falcon Heavy, which is kind of 3 rockets really. But
yeah, I mean, I can't really decide. I would say because rockets are cool. They're all crazy, but from the new ones, I would definitely say it's Starship because that concept is just way too insane as well. But I definitely have a love for Space Shuttle as well because that's just a rocket we all know, and it I don't know, it just looks way too cool when that thing has lifted off or landed. And I'm kind of sad it's not flying anymore, but I mean it's for a good reason. So
yeah, well, and Saturn V would be a close third. It's just still it's a beautiful, incredible. The fact that they accomplished that build when they did, and just with the technology they had at the time and the power of it is pretty incredible.
I think the Space Shuttle computers had enough storage to save one phone picture. So yeah, but I mean they did a good job at flying the Space Shuttle. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot about I think it was the computer that flew the Saturn V and the Apollo missions on Destin's channel, Smarter Every Day. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, the computer that flew the Saturn V, I've seen a few videos about it. If you have never looked into it, do look it up. It's super insane how that thing even controlled the rocket. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, Astro Roadie asked about Buran. And that's looking like my camera just cut off. Let me just fix that real quick.
Well, the weather's it's cleared up here for now. We've had mostly rain, high winds, a lot of flooding, but now the sun came out all afternoon and the wind is drying everything out. So I haven't been over to Starbase for a few days, but I can imagine there's a lot of water over there, which is really beautiful for photography. So I'm sure John's going to get some incredible photos over the next week or two. That water tends to sit and stay around for a while until the hot Texas heat and sun evaporate. Some of it does go back out with the tide, but there's just a lot of flat wetland around the whole Starbase complex.
Yeah, sorry for that small interruption.
Good to have you
Our
back.
router
No,
just
it's
decided
fine.
to restart. So yeah, my camera and my control surface just disconnected. Great. But I'm back now.
Glad you're still with us.
And we should see that second engine start up too, and then cut off as well in a few minutes. So let's unmute SpaceX, or a few seconds actually.
Welcome back. For those that have just recently joined, we had an on-time liftoff of 5:35 p.m. Eastern Time from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and it's followed by a successful stage separation about 2.5 minutes into launch. As you can see, the second engine has reignited for its second ignition, or SES2, second engine start 2. You can see that the speed is once again increasing, as well as the altitude, following along with the stage 2 telemetry GUI on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. This will last another few seconds. This was just a short 1-minute burn of the MVAC engine.
Yeah, I love the looks of the nozzle in the dark. Super cool.
Standing by for SECO 2, second engine cutoff 2.
Yeah, we're on the dark side of the Earth, so to speak.
Yeah, there you go.
Good orbit insertion.
All right. As you can see on your screen, we did have successful cutoff of that MVAC engine, and we also heard the call out there for a good orbit. Right now, we are going to await the final milestone for today's mission, of course, spacecraft separation. We're going to go into another short 7-minute coast, and for now, we will see you back here at T plus 34 minutes for deployment of Astro 1P.
There you have it.
Nice. Yeah, so that definitely looked good. And I think we can wait around until deployment, because it would be a shame if we just stop streaming now, shortly before
So
the end of
close
the
to
mission.
the end of the mission, yeah.
Exactly. So if you have more questions, feel free to put them in chat again, and we'll do our best to read it.
Yeah, people were comparing the safety of Soyuz versus Dragon. I think the only advantage Soyuz has is just the amount of missions in history, but I think Dragon's proven to be very safe and reliable.
Yeah, I mean, it's indeed hard to say and compare, because Soyuz has flown way more, and Soyuz is also the way older vehicle. I mean, there has been multiple iterations of Soyuz. I mean, there has been multiple iterations of Dragon as well, because there's that first Dragon version, and then the new second Dragon version that also has the crew version. Yeah, but it's still hard to compare them.
Yeah, they're two different vehicles, really. It's like new age and old age. But back to someone had asked about Falcon 9 failing, and it actually, not only, but on ascent, I think it was CRS-7, where it exploded, and then it had a cargo Dragon spacecraft that also broke apart, fell into the ocean, and I actually have a little piece of the solar arrays from that Dragon spacecraft that has burn marks on it, because it was given to SpaceX employees, and just as a reminder to be careful and what's at stake.
Interesting.
They hadn't yet done crewed missions yet, but yeah, it's pretty cool to look at. It's one of my favorite.
I couldn't actually remember that, but I do remember the pad abort test they did with the Crew Dragon before.
Oh, that was so
of
cool.
course, getting into servers, and they also did a Dragon test where they detached it and ran the mission abort system during ascent, and of course, therefore also sacrificed the booster on stage. Yeah, but that they needed to do that for getting it human rated, of course. So I wouldn't really count that as a failure, as that was a planned test.
Yeah. I don't know if we've got some space debris there, or that in the top left.
It could also be lights on down on Earth, actually. Hard to say. Or stars. or the aliens that are looking back at the rocket, right? 100% not confirmed. No, joking, of course. Yeah, but actually, I do remember Roadie asking and joking about Buran, the Russian, more or less, copy of the space shuttle they made. There's actually a really cool place here in Germany, in Speyer, where you can look at the Buran up close.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like basically a bit smaller space shuttle, and but they never really got to fly orbital missions. I think the prototype that is there flew a suborbital test flight, but that's about as far as they got, as far as I know.
I know there's some more vehicles that are like decaying just in, is it Kazakhstan or? And there's
I think so, yeah.
some YouTubers that snuck in overnight and got video. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's
They're
cool.
very dangerous to sneak into that area.
Yeah, of course. I probably wouldn't do it, but still. I mean, every space vehicle basically is super cool. So, yeah. So if you're just joining us, we are watching SpaceX's Astra 1P mission, and today they are launching a television satellite for Europe, basically to cover Europe. It's a wideband satellite. Yeah, we're about 3 or 2 minutes away from deployment. We already saw a successful liftoff and landing of the booster, and stage separation, of course, and then now we're looking at the second stage, the upper stage, and are just awaiting the deployment.
It always blows my mind how they get signal from those interior cams. I guess they're using the same. Yeah.
I'm not even sure where we're looking at there, because it does look like it's like the protective
shielding, right?
Protective shielding around the engine there. But if someone in chat knows what we're actually looking there at, please feel free to put that in chat, so we do know that.
Rod said he subbed a long time ago. Thanks, Rod.
Thank you.
Is it really named after Bob Behnken, the barge? That's cool if that's the case.
Okay, so that deploy should come up in about a minute, a bit less actually. So we can definitely look out for that. And after that, we hopefully have a successful mission, and the satellite should be in geostationary transfer orbit, as far as I know. And quick reminder again, liking the stream and subscribing always helps us a lot. So if you haven't done that yet, feel free to do that. And after the stream, you're also going to be forwarded to our Starbase 24/7 stream, where you can watch latest Starbase updates and also witness the super awesome weather down there at Starbase right now. Yeah, we should see the deploy every second now.
Yeah, and they're always working on something at Starbase, no matter the weather. So.
SES 24 deploy confirmed.
Okay.
All right.
There we have the call for deployment. We said he didn't see any video of that yet. Maybe we'll still see it in a second. But it might also just be classified, and that's why we can't see it.
All of us here at SpaceX would like to thank our customer SES for entrusting us with today's mission. We'd also like to thank the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for their support. If you're interested in more launch coverage, be sure to check spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information. And before we go, as many of you know, June is Pride Month and is a time to recognize, honor, and celebrate the contributions of those within the LGBTQ+ community. And yesterday was Juneteenth, a powerful day in American history that marks the...
Okay, so SpaceX is about to end the stream, and we'll probably follow them up with that. But it was awesome streaming with everyone here and watching the launch together. And we're probably going to do something similar often now. and we're also planning multiple weekly or even daily shows, live shows. So if you would like to see those, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, you're going to be forwarded to the 24/7 stream now, where you can also see live cams like this one.
Yeah, it looks like the
so
sun's
thanks.
out over at Starbase.
Yeah, I mean, the terrible weather seems to be gone, at least for now. I think if you look closer, you can still see the water down there in front of the camera. So yeah, it's definitely not nice weather. Yeah, but you're going to be forwarded to the 24/7 stream now. Thank you so much for watching. It was an awesome time.
Thanks, Jonathan. Nice hosting with you.
Nice with you as well. Great evening, everyone.
Take care, everyone.